Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista and we have another kind of not so busy day, but some tasks that I want to get done today. I just got back from the Amish. I went to go and pick up my milk today, and I also had to pick up some chicken feed. We got a special delivery yesterday morning, and if you follow me on Instagram, you already know what it is, but I have to go into my garage to show you. We got our meat birds yesterday. Let's see if I can get one up. Here they are. These guys are, I think they're 3 days old today. This is a Cornish cross. Probably too close, but look at the size of their feet. He is only 3 days old. Not liking being picked up. Just had to come in and wash my hands. Whenever I touch the chickens, I always immediately wash my hands after. So that is a Cornish cross. We call them meat birds, and we ordered them from McMurray Hatchery, and I think we put the order in 3 months ago. I ordered them pretty far in advance because I wanted to make sure that I would have them for this time frame. So they're probably gonna go out in our mobile coop in 4 weeks. Might be a little bit before 4 weeks depending on the weather. And so we just put them in a mobile coop. There's 30 of them, and then we move the coop around our property daily, and then that way they're getting fresh grass every single day. Now we do still feed them a grower feed to help them kind of grow a lot bigger. So in 10 weeks we'll process those, and that will be some of our chicken to get us through the year. We are having 10 turkeys delivered at the beginning of April, and this is going to be our first year processing turkeys. Normally we do 60 meat birds, and that is enough chicken to get us through the whole year, but because we are doing 10 turkeys this year, we are only going to see if the 30 birds will get us through the year. So we'll see about that. But anyway, so that came yesterday, and that was super exciting. I love hearing the little chirps again. We still have our incubator going with our new layer hens. I am probably going to end up candling the eggs probably in a couple of days just to see if any of them are actually fertile and actually going to hatch. So we're gonna do that in a couple of days. I finally figured out the humidity on that thing. I was not filling the bottom compartment correctly, which was causing the humidity to stay under 50, which when you are at that stage, you would like to have the optimal humidity running at 50 to 55. So that's exciting. We have a lot of chick action happening right now. The other thing, I actually wanted to give you guys an update on that wartime cake that I made. That recipe turned out, from what I now understand from seeing other people that have made it, it turned out correctly. The cake is not so much what we think of as a carrot cake, like an actual cake. It is more like a scone. So it is supposed to be that dry. Well, maybe not quite to that extent, but it is supposed to be drier because it is almost more like a scone consistency, where you know how a scone is kind of on the drier side. That's what that reminds me of. So I definitely will be making that cake again. I just have it sitting over here. But yeah, I definitely will be making it again. It is a really yummy cake. So today we are going to make what my recipe calls a swirly twirly cinnamon, which is another name for monkey bread. Now, I was going to try to kind of get away from doing the traditional cinnamon and walnuts on the monkey bread. I was actually going to attempt to do a lemon one, but I have decided not to do that today because I'm kind of craving the caramely cinnamon. So we're gonna make that today. And the other thing we're also going to get done today is I need to get a little more of my potatoes processed, because I don't know if you can see or not, but they're already starting to sprout. So they're I got them 2 weeks ago, and they're definitely all starting to sprout. I have them in a closet that actually doesn't get very much light, but for some reason, I don't know, they just don't last very long in my house. So we're going to make a French fry that I am just going to put in my freezer, and we're gonna kind of put them in little vacuum seal packs. So those are the two things that we are going to get done today. The other thing, I had recorded a couple weeks ago, I needed to make a laundry soap, and I actually recorded me making it, and I was gonna do it in a separate video, but by the time I got finished editing it, it was actually only 6 minutes. So I am actually going to attach that video to this one so that you guys can see how I make the laundry soap. I have used it for the last 2 weeks, and it is absolutely amazing. This is going to be my go-to laundry soap recipe from going forward. The only thing that I now realize that I did wrong is I actually did not put in the correct amount of grated soap. So when you are watching this, please keep in mind that you need to add more grated soap than what I actually do. I will leave the recipe below for you guys, but even with me not using the right amount of grated soap, that laundry soap is still, like, it is getting tough stains out of stuff, which is really awesome. So definitely a winner. So I'm gonna post that video for you right here, and then when we get back, we will get started on getting this monkey bread. We'll call it monkey bread. My recipe says swirly twirly, but everybody kind of knows it as monkey bread. So we'll come back and we will get that started. I am in need of making some laundry soap. I only have this much left. I normally use vinegar to do my laundry, but for some loads, I actually like to use a powdered laundry soap. I have been buying the kind from Azure Standard for a while, but I have decided after watching a couple of videos that it is really super simple to make. So I have been slowly collecting the ingredients required to make it, so I thought I would make it with you guys today. What I am using in the laundry soap, I have my food processor out here. The only reason I have my food processor is because I need to grate up 2 bars of soap, and I don't feel like finely grating them. So we are going to put them into the food processor to grate them up. These are just 2 bars of soap. This one I actually purchased at my local Amish, and this one I purchased on Etsy. I found that a really good option for buying my bar soap is just on Etsy and kind of reading the reviews and see what everybody says. That's kind of what led me to buying this particular one. I think Azure Standard also carries some Dr. Bonner's Castile soap bars, and I may do that in the future if I want to get like a scented laundry soap, because this one is going to be an unscented one. The other ingredient that we need is some washing soda. This is just some here that I have in bulk. I purchased it from Azure Standard. And then the last ingredient that we need is some oxygenated powdered bleach. All this is just kind of a more non-toxic version of OxiClean. This oxygenated powdered bleach I picked up from Azure Standard, so I'm going to use that. I'm just gonna get some gloves on here because this washing soda tends to irritate my hands a little bit, so I'm just going to put on some rubber gloves. I'll leave the description below for you guys on how I'm making this. So I have a big bowl here, and to this bowl, you know what? I think we're actually going to double the recipe today because I have 2 bars of soap and the recipe calls for just 1. So we are going to double the recipe. So the standard recipe calls for 4 cups of washing soda. We are going to put in 8 cups of washing soda. I store mine in a 5-gallon bucket, and I need to get into it because I don't think I have enough in that bowl or in that bag. And then we need 1 cup of this deoxygenated bleach. So I will be adding in 2 cups. And I'm just gonna give this a stir with my hands. That's why I have the gloves on. I'm taking those 2 bars of soap and I'm just going to cut them into pretty fine consistency. I want to make it easier for my food processor to really be able to grind them up into really super small pieces. You want it to almost mimic what you would get at a grocery store when you buy like a dried laundry soap powder. So I'm just dumping everything into my food processor here, and I'm just going to pulse it a couple of times just to get it good and kind of meshed up more. And then once I see that it is in pretty small pieces, I'm just going to turn my food processor on and let it blitz for a while. So this is about the consistency that you want it. It's really finely chopped up. This is another reason why I didn't want to use a hand grinder or grater, because I can't get it into as small of pieces that I really want. So now I'm just going to add it back to the bowl, and I'm just going to kind of toss it a little bit with my hands. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 cups at a time back into the food processor, and I'm just going to get it really finely chopped up. And now I'm just adding it back to my laundry soap canister. So I just continue this until I am through that full bowl and the whole load is to a really, really fine ground powder. So we're all done making it. Now to use this, you are supposed to use 2 tablespoons of this detergent per load of laundry. I have a septic tank where I live, so this is supposed to be septic tank safe. This recipe is also supposed to be safe for a high efficiency washing machine. So I'm gonna go and try it out right now and see if it works. The reviews on this have been really good, so I'm excited to have a low toxic option to do my laundry with. So I hope you guys like that laundry soap. Like if you have the materials, even if you don't, I mean, I'm pretty sure Walmart sells most of those materials. I would definitely give it a try. Maybe don't do a double load, maybe just try a single load and see if it works good for you. But like I said before, that is going to be my go-to laundry soap from this point going forward. So I have a bundt pan here. This is what we are going to use to make the monkey bread. I need to get the yeast kind of activated and nice and bubbly before we can make the recipe. I just added a 1/4 cup of warm water to this bowl, and now I'm just gonna sprinkle, it says a pinch of sugar, so we'll just sprinkle that in the bowl. And then it calls for, let's see here, 1 package of dry active yeast. So I have an instant dry active yeast, so we are going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons, because that's what the measurement is for 1 packet of yeast. And then it says to stir gently. We have the yeast all nice and foamy. So to our mixer bowl, we are going to add a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar. We're gonna add a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of butter. It does not specify that it needs to be melted, but it's at room temperature kind of. It's not super soft, but we'll use it anyways. You should have it at room temperature. And then 3/4 cup of warm milk. So I'm just using a whole milk in this. And then it says to pour the yeast mixture in with this. Oh, and we also forgot eggs. We need to add 2 large eggs to this. And And then it just says to mix well with the dough hook. Okay guys, I'm regretting not having this butter pre-melted because it is not going anywhere. So I'm actually just gonna heat it up really quickly. We will now add the butter because it was way too cold and it was not getting beat in with that. There's now chunks of butter in here, but this should be fine. It's still not beating up, so I just got the whisk out. And now everything's incorporated. Okay, so we need to add 3.5 cups of flour to this. So it says add flour slowly. So you want to have it going while you add the flour. But I don't want to mess, so I'm just going to add it a cup at a time. Now that we have everything incorporated, we need to mix this for 1 minute. So I have a bowl here and we just need to get this bowl buttered because we are going to be putting this dough in it for 20 minutes to kind of do a quick little rise. Now, it does take a longer rise, but that is on the second part of the recipe. So we'll get the dough out of this mixing bowl. Sticky dough. I'm just gonna kind of form it into a ball. We just need to turn it around in the buttered bowl just to get the dough buttered. So that is all done. Now it says to cover with a cloth and leave it sit for 20 minutes. We'll go and put this on the oven because I made granola earlier, so the oven's kind of hot still. Oh, the other things I wanted to let you guys know, I took out one of our frozen lasagnas that we made for the big batch cooking day, and we are gonna have that for supper tonight. So, it's been sitting out for about an hour, so I'm just gonna get some of this tin foil off of it. I realized I hadn't done that yet. I am going to save this tin foil because when we cook this, we actually need to cover it. So I am just going to leave it sit on the stove and continue to defrost. While that's doing its first rise, we need to kind of get the brown sugar gooey topping all made up. So I am going to kind of add a little bit more than what this recipe calls for. I've made this recipe a lot, and the one thing that I have found is this component, the recipe does not tell you to make enough. I always end up having to add or make a little bit more when I am in the middle of making the recipe. So I will leave this linked for you guys below if I can find it. I'm just trying to, I know I got it from a cookbook because I just have it printed off here and I can't remember what cookbook I got it from. So I may end up just typing it out for you guys. Also, I want to add, I have made this recipe vegan before. So I have made it without eggs and I have made it without dairy products. My substitution, just in case you want to know this, if you, let's say you have milk intolerance or you don't have eggs available, instead of using eggs, you can use 4 tablespoons of ground flaxseed mixed with 6 tablespoons of water. That will give you the same consistency as 6 large eggs. The other thing, instead of using milk, is you can use a plant-based milk. That works excellent. And instead of the butter, I have used a plant-based butter alternative also. And all of those work and you get an excellent finished product. So it makes really no difference whether you're using the dairy and the egg versus the substitution. So just wanted to let you guys know of that you can definitely omit eggs and change up the milk in it. So to this bowl, we are going to add, the recipe calls for 3/4 cup of brown sugar. So we are going to, and it says packed brown sugar, I swear, I just needed to double check that. So we're probably gonna end up adding like around 1 cup of brown sugar. Again, because I just find that I'm always trying, like near the end of it, I'm always having to make up a little bit more. Did I add a cup in there, or was that 3 of them? Oh no. I think that was only 3. Oh well. I guess we'll find out. And then we need half a cup of walnuts, and I am just using a like baker's walnut, so they're pretty much already pre-chopped. Baker's pieces, it's called. So we'll just add just a touch bit over half of a cup. So I would say maybe 3/4 cup. And then we need 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm just gonna do 2 heaping teaspoons. That should be good. And we will leave the ingredients out just in case my overages didn't work out. And so then we're just gonna stir this up. Guess who forgot to set the timer for 20 minutes? Just set it for 15. My house is kind of cold. I had to turn the heat down because I just could not hang with the 72 degrees. And that incubator seems to be doing fine since lowering the heat today. And then we also need to take a stick of butter, so half a cup of butter, and we need to melt this, but we will do this at the last minute. And I just have out a little bit more butter just in case we need to melt some more of it. Oh, the other thing, might as well do that. We need to butter the bundt pan. So what we're gonna do while we wait for that to finish doing its first rise, we are going to get our potatoes all washed up. I am leaving the skins on the potatoes because I just like my French fries with the skins on them. But if you do not like skins, definitely feel free to peel them. So just get them washed up. I'm gonna bring you guys down here so you can kind of see this step a little bit closely. So this is the rise that we've already gotten. It's been just a little bit over 20 minutes. So what we're going to do now is we are going to cut this into 4 equal pieces. This would be a lot easier with the bench stripper. I just don't want to get it out. And then we are going to roll this into a log. It's still pretty sticky. And then each log we are going to cut into 12 pieces. So we have 12 pieces. So what we're gonna do, we are going to shape them into rounds. I'm not gonna shape it too much. They can definitely be rough. So we'll do this log first before we roll out the other ones. Actually, let's roll out one more and then we'll do the next step. Kind of do it in 2 batches. I actually decided to make all of the rolls. It's easier just to get it done with because this actually kind of gets your hands dirty and I didn't want to have to keep washing my hands. So we have our butter here. I'm gonna just put it in the microwave for another minute because it's already starting to get like melted. Okay, so we're gonna set up an assembly line here. So we have our butter, which it's melted, and again, this is a stick of butter. And then we have our sugar mixture, and then we have our buttered bundt pan. Hopefully you guys can see everything. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our ball that we just made. We are going to kind of dip it in the butter mixture and get it good and coated. And then we're going to put it into here and we're gonna use a different hand and we're gonna coat it in the sugar walnut mixture. And then we're gonna take it and put it into the bundt pan. And we're gonna repeat it for all of the balls. This is why I just decided to cut it all at once because I didn't wanna have to rewash my hands. Let's get these all done. We have enough mixture. I'm excited. I don't need to make any more. So this is our last ball that we have. So what we're gonna do, so we'll just put it here. So this extra mixture that we have, I'm just gonna take it because it's got quite a bit of nuts in it and I want those nuts in here. So we're just gonna kind of put it on the top here. And wipe down the counter quickly. So now we have to take that cloth and we just have to cover this and put it in a warm spot for an hour and a half before we can bake it. So it's gonna do its second rise now. We'll just put it over there on the stove so it can rise. I'm going to just kind of clean this counter a little bit more and then we'll get started on our French fries. What we're gonna do is I like to kind of cut a little kind of a flat base on the bottom of the potato. You guys cannot see what I'm doing. I'm gonna bring you down because you couldn't see before. So like I was saying, I just cut a piece of that bottom so it's kind of a flat surface. And then I cut just kind of a little bit of this skin. These all go into my compost, but I can, like I was saying in my other video, boil these up and give them to my chickens, but I like them for my compost right now. So we're just gonna cut them like that thick. And then any spots like this, I just cut off. And then we're just gonna cut them into strips like that. And so that will be our French fries. So what I need to do is actually take these potatoes out of this bowl and get this bowl filled up with some cold water because we're gonna put the potatoes in here so that they don't start to go all orange and weird colored. I'll just put them in the water. They start to oxidize pretty quickly, so you kind of want to get them soaking in some water right away so that they don't start to do that. And some of them will be thicker, and that's fine if you don't mind the odd shaped French fries. So my camera battery died. What I was just doing there is I was taking them out of the water and putting them in here into an ice bath. What we did is we heavily salted this water. I just kind of took the salt and dumped it in. And now we're gonna take our cut French fries, using this so I don't burn myself. We're gonna put them into the boiling water for 2 minutes. So what we're doing right now is we are just blanching them. So if you have one of those meat fry cutters, that makes this project so much easier. I just don't have one. When the kids were younger, we used to make a lot of French fries, but I don't make a lot of them anymore. That's why I really like this, because when I'm craving French fries, I just can grab them out of the freezer and throw them in the air fryer, and it's quick, easy side. You don't have to freeze them. If you're not freezing them, if you are just making them right away in the air fryer, I would still do this step because it results in more of like a better tasting French fry. So after blanching them and after the cold water, then you can cook them. But I'll show you all of the other steps that we're gonna do with this. So we have a minute left on this. So I have my baking sheets here. This is a rimmed baking sheet and I have it lined with a silicone mat. We're just gonna take them out of this water. And we're gonna put them into a bowl. Actually, you know what we have to do? We have to dry them first. We have to take them out of this water and put them onto a towel because we just kind of need to, oh, that's the timer for the other batch. So we'll get these out first. We just need to kind of dry them a bit. You don't want them soaking wet because then you'll get ice crystals on them. Okay, and let's get our other fries out of there and put into this cold water. Just kind of dry them a bit with another towel. Okay, and now we're gonna put them into a bowl now that we've dried them. They're still a little wet, but it's okay. They're not soaking wet. We're gonna add about a teaspoon of oil. I'm just using an avocado oil, and we're just gonna coat the fries. So now at this point, if you were going to either put them in a deep fryer, put them in an air fryer, or bake them, this is the point that you could do that at. But because we're going to be flash freezing them, we are just going to lay them on a baking sheet. And then we're just going to kind of make them so that they're not touching each other. Some of the bigger fries I actually went back and cut up because they were a little bit too big. If some of them are touching, it's fine. They do break apart fairly easy. So now what we do is we just take this cookie sheet and then we're just going to freeze these. And once these are frozen, then we just take them out and vacuum seal them. And then there we have our French fries, easy to use at any time. Okay, so I am gonna go and get these in the freezer, and I just realized that I actually need to go and quickly drop something off at the post office. I completely forgot to do it today. So I'm gonna run to the post office while that is finishing rising, and then when we get back, it should be done, and then we can get it cooking. It's all risen now. So I have my oven preheated at 350. What we are going to do is just take the cloth off and look at the rise on that. Woo, looks really good. So I am gonna put it on a lined baking sheet. And the reason I am doing this is because it, without a fail, always bubbles over and makes a huge mess in my oven. So I definitely recommend for you to put it onto a baking sheet. So we are gonna get this put into the oven. And again, that was preheated at 350. And then we are going to cook this for 30 minutes, or it says until golden brown. When it is done, we need to remove it from the oven and we need to let it cool for 20 minutes. So put it onto a cooling rack, let it cool for 20 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and then we are going to turn it upside down onto a serving plate. And there we are going to let it, again, cool completely. You don't wanna ice it when it's hot. You wanna wait for it to completely come down to room temperature and be completely chilled before you put that icing on top. So we'll let that do its thing. I need to set the timer. So we got 30 minutes on the timer. We will come back when we take it out and we will get it put onto a cooling rack. I ran downstairs quickly because I smelled something burning and I thought there's no way. Guys, I don't know if you can see it. Very back, one of the balls fell down. And it's burning. I'm gonna have to quickly try to get that out without compromising the rest of the time. Saved it. So the problem is I'm freezing all of those fries in the freezer, so I don't have a big enough cookie sheet, so they're falling off. Okay, so it just went off. We're gonna pull it out. That's what it looks like. We are just gonna set it here and leave it rest for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then we will come back and we will try the tricky thing of trying to flip it onto a serving platter in hopes that it stays all together. Hopefully. I'm just getting the French fries out of the freezer right now and we're gonna get them vacuum sealed. Okay, so we've took them out of the freezer. They are not completely rock frozen. I don't want to get them completely frozen. I just want to get them to the point where they're not going to be sticking together when I put them into a bag. So I have the bags labeled and I'm gonna probably try to divide these into 5 different bags because this was 5 pounds of potatoes. Even with the peelings off, about a pound per bag should be good. This is why you don't want to freeze them too close together because they're stuck together now, but you just got to be gentle when they get stuck together. We just put our freezer lasagna in the oven, so that's probably gonna cook for about 45 minutes because it was half frozen, half thawed. Normally it only takes about 30 minutes roughly. This actually might take 50 minutes, I'm not sure. So we got these vacuumed sealed. So now that is a very, very quick side for me to have out of the freezer. So I just need to seal the rest of the bags and then they are gonna go in the freezer, and then we'll come back when we have to do the fun task of flipping. Okay, time for the moment of truth. Realized I did not have a big enough platter, so I'm gonna use a plate and hopefully it'll work. So just turn it upside down. I can see some of them are sticking. I don't know how to get them off. We might just have to decorate it a little bit. There it is. Super yums. Okay, so now we're just gonna leave it on here and we're just gonna let it cool, and then we will come back and put some icing on it. So I've actually just decided I'm not gonna end up icing this. I like this just plain. It is really sweet enough. But if you did want to add icing to it, what you would do, again, wait until it's completely cool, and then you are going to stir the icing sugar. So it's 1 1/4 cup of icing sugar with 2 tablespoons of milk. And you're gonna stir that until it's smooth, and then you're going to use a spoon and just drizzle it over top of that, and then it's ready to enjoy. This is a really, really, really delicious dessert. I am really tempted to try in the next couple weeks and try to do this instead of rolling it in the brown sugar cinnamon mixture. I am very tempted to roll it in like a lemon, kind of a lemon icing sugar mixture to see if we can get a little bit of a different taste to it, and then just ice it with icing. So maybe that will be an upcoming video. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking I want to try to do that. So I am going to close out the video then for today. I've got my lasagna in the oven, so that will be our supper tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and give the monkey bread a try. It's so good. I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.